Welcome to another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm Kristin Macari, and I'm here with your host,
Jeanine Corcoran, broker for Corcoran Connect, a real estate company.
That only took me 4 times.
I know. Hey, stay tuned at the end because we got some good bloopers.
It is the Mondayest Monday that there ever was, and I know you're going to hear this tomorrow morning, but oh my gosh, this is definitely the Mondayest Monday of all.
So what's going on with interest rates, mortgage interest rates?
Oh my gosh. Okay, we talked about it last month a little bit about how the mortgage rates, the anticipation of the Fed rate cut was already kind of included in their mortgage rate drops. But we've experienced a second Fed rate drop, but mortgage rates went up a little bit. So, I know we talked a lot about the Fed cutting rates because typically they follow a similar pattern, right? Like the Fed cuts rates, the mortgage rates come down a little bit. But that's not always the case, which is what we're seeing now, right? So do you want to talk about what kind of happens and what the predictions are for the rest of the year?
So we came across an article that was written by NPR, and they were saying that it's not likely that the rates will go down drastically. In 2019, for example, rates for a 30-year fixed rate range from 3.75 to 4.5. Those are the rates that everyone loved, right? And we want them all to come back. Chances are probably they won't come back, at least this year. I don't know if they'll ever get that low. And they dropped to as low as 2.65. I know a lot of people, and that was in 2021. I know a lot of people that happened to. But many forecasters have rates near 6% at the end of this year, so 2024. Falling to about 5.8 for next year. So I don't know if you want to. Yeah.
And so I know that Lawrence Yun, the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, said that he thinks the new normal is maybe a 6% mortgage rate. If we're lucky, maybe we get to 5.5% mortgage rate, or if we're unlucky, mortgage rates may trend back up towards 7%. But Yun is confident of one thing: the days of 3% and 4% mortgage rates are over, at least in his lifetime, he says. So.
Right. So buyers, get off the fence.
Right.
This is the new norm.
Yep, absolutely.
I remember how many years before they were 5-6%. That was norm for many years.
Which I think the rates itself is not. We like to blame the rates, right? Because people, need to have something to villainize. But I think it's a combination of the rates and the prices, right?
Yeah.
The rates are too high for the prices that are high. So it's the balance of both, right? We can't have high prices and high rates. Something's got to give. So if the rates aren't coming down, then the prices in theory would have to come down. And I think
a lot of sellers, and if you look at the days on the market, I mean, the sellers are just like that. They know their competition are the builders who's paying for all the closing costs and have better rates because they have big pockets. They could buy it down. But sellers are willing to do that too. So don't dismiss the resale at all, because sellers are willing to help.
Right.
I have a seller now giving $10,000. He drastically cut his price, and he's willing to help. And there's a lot of sellers like that.
Right. Absolutely. So, it is a good time for buyers. I think that there's a little bit less competition. Granted, I think when you get to your more entry level price point home, there's going to be more competition, obviously. But I think it's a great time to buy if you're able to purchase right now. Now is a great time to buy because you can get in if we do experience, a market that goes crazy again. At least you'll be in at a better spot.
Right. So, you're not having, because then that drives the prices up when you have multiple offers.
Right. Absolutely. So with that being said, you want to talk about what happened in 34769 for the month of October of 2024, which, by the way, it's almost Thanksgiving. What?
What happened? We have to get better at doing it the first week. Yeah. After the month passed, but we will. So in 34769, which are mostly your state streets, there were 26 properties that sold in October. 22 of them were single stories, and the price per square foot came in at $230.46. And then there were 4 two-stories at $156.42.
Yep. And so your price per square foot average was $218.19, which is down about 2.72% from last month, which was September of 2024. And year over year, there was actually a decrease of 6.32%. So I think this is the first time that 34769 is seeing any kind of price reductions.
Yeah, because they usually stay pretty
consistent. Yeah, with it being the most entry level favorable home prices, and the median days to contract, it took about 28 days to get under contract and 60 days to close. So still you're looking in that price range, you're looking at about a month to get under contract and 2 months to get closed.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting. And you have about a 3.5 month supply, which again, I think is the healthiest that 34769 has seen in terms of that. So with that said, what's in 34771?
So with 34771, we had 54 homes that sold. Now that's usually a lot more sales than that, I feel like.
Yeah, it feels like it, but I think when I looked it up, I didn't see any drastic changes from the year prior. But while you're telling us about it, I'm going to double check my math. So go on.
So there were 54 homes that sold. Of that, 36 of them were single stories at $246.12 price per square foot, and the 2 stories there were 18, and they came in at $208.55 price per square foot.
That's great. And so interestingly enough, October of 2023, right? So a year ago in October, the same month, there were only 45 sales.
Oh, okay.
So this is, I think, seasonally adjusted for the right.
Well, I was more thinking of like September or August, right, just passed.
Yeah. But I think this might be in line for where it is.
Where it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
okay.
For this time of year. So you're looking at month over month. Your price basically didn't change. It was $233.60. This in October 2024, and in September it was $233.47. So you're neck and neck with where you were. Year over year price decrease of about 1.14%. Again, you're talking. It was $236.30 compared to $233.60. So that might be a difference of more 2 stories this time than October of 2023. You know what I mean? Not a significant difference, I don't feel like. Days to contract are getting a little bit longer on our resale homes. So you're looking at 94 days to contract. So that's a little over 3 months, and 122 days to close.
Oh, wow.
So that's a 4-month, closing. So keep that in mind if you're trying to sell a home
in a rush
in a particular time frame. You got to do that. And your month supply is actually up a lot. In 34771, it's 6.8 months.
Oh my goodness, we are over that. Wow, we haven't hit 6 months on anything.
I know.
A long time.
I know. So I'm starting to feel like, is this one of those things where that's going to turn into more of a buyer's market? I mean, granted, you have so much new construction out there too, though.
I think it's I know, but
I know
the buyers have the hand.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. The buyers have the upper hand.
I agree.
Do you want to go on to 34772?
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
34772. We have 55 homes that sold. Of that, 42 of them were single stories at $233.86 price per square foot. And then the 2 stories, we only had 13 at $187.78. Now in 7-1, it was over $200 a square foot for the 2 stories. And in 7-2, it's $187.78, which seems a little bit the norm.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. 34771 is definitely I feel like a higher priced area just because of your location to everything, right?
Yeah,
you're a lot
closer to Lake Nona.
More closer to the highways, closer to shopping. And so in 34772, your month over month averages are up about 2.4%. So we did see some gains there. And year over year, you're up 2.3%. So, very, very similar, I think, in terms of, increase in prices. Days to contract was 37. And again, this is only for resale homes, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because you don't want to include the builder because that will skew the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so right now in 34772, you actually have a 4.1 month supply of inventory. So I still think a healthy number there. All right. And then over to Sleepy 34773.
Well, no. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're 34773. That's right. Sorry.
Okay.
That's okay. Keep rolling. So 34773, we had 16 properties that sold. Of that, 12 of them were single stories at $225.33 price per square foot, and only 4 2 stories at $176.52.
Yep. And so your month over month averages, again, really small sample size. So it's down 4.1% from month over month, but year over year, it's up 6%. So again, I think those numbers just swing quite a bit depending on what actually closes. Your median days to contract for resale homes are 132 days. That is over 4 months. That's 4.5 months to get a contract on 34773 for a resale home.
Right.
To close, you're at 195 days. I don't even math that. What's that? That's over 6 months.
Yeah, over 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely seeing the effects in Harmony.
Yeah,
especially
in
with
Harmony.
Harmony, Maine.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think this is actually the first month, though, that it's actually reflected that. I feel like we've been talking about it. It's like, 60 days to 90 days. And then,
yeah.
But this is the first month that we've actually had houses close that were sitting on the market for a long time. So I'll be curious. I know a couple of houses recently that had been sitting on the market for a while went under contract, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to do Harmony market report since we're in 34773?
Yeah, absolutely. And just really quickly, in Harmony, you have, or in the 34773 zip code, you have 7.9 months supply. So
and do know it doesn't include townhouses in that report, and also it doesn't include the manufactured home, because we did have manufactured homes sell out in Halipo, and we don't include that in the report.
Right, that's true. We're only covering your single family homes in this report. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Harmony?
So in Harmony, Maine, are you ready? We only had 2 homes that sold.
Yeah.
One was in your neighborhood on
my neighbor's
Wingspan.
house.
Yeah, it wasn't a short sale?
Yes, it was a short sale.
Okay, and the other one was on Songbird.
Yeah.
And that's the 55 and older. So that's all that sold.
Yeah.
So so I guess you have no other data to support. The next door came to 185.17 price per square foot.
Right.
And then on Songbird, it was 226.21 price per square foot.
Which is crazy. So also, can we just talk about, so the house next door to me was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Beautiful home, beautiful upgrades. They have a nice big lot, fenced.
1901 square feet.
Yep, 1901 square feet. Like I said, beautifully maintained. There are no rear neighbors. We're on conservation. They got that house for $352.
I know.
For a 4-bedroom. Like, now granted, our HOA fees are higher, so like, but yeah, I could not believe that. I was shocked that went for that low. Definitely a beautiful house, and thankfully we have really good new neighbors. So like, I really want out. I did. They're so awesome. All right. And so then after that, what do you have in Harmony West? So
Harmony West, a lot of well, not a lot, but 9 townhouses sold, and they came in at 218.11 price per square foot, and they're selling in the low threes. It looks like the lowest one that sold was just under 307.
Right.
And also, I wanted to point out that of the 9, it looks like 7 of them were FHA financing. That's all your first-time homebuyers.
Right, which is great.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. And I do remember, because I did tour this with a buyer, actually almost a year ago, I think. And they were a very affordable option. Like, it was one of the last affordable options, it felt like, for a first-time home buyer to be able to get into. So that's great to see that they're not all just being purchased for investment properties or anything like that. They're FHA loans, so that's good.
And then the regular single-family homes, we had 11 properties that sold. And of that, I guess I didn't write down how many single stories there were. But the price per square foot on the single stories came at $221.88. And for the 2 stories, it was $176.52.
So there were 7 1-stories and 4 2-stories. Okay. I did that math really quick for you.
Thanks.
All right. And then over in Harmony Central, which I feel like was gangbusters for a minute there.
We only had 3 single families that sold. They don't have any townhouses over there, but they had 3 on Sagefield, and they sold average price per square foot. They were $246.47.
Yep. And they were all 1-stories. Yep. All right. So then last but not least, you want to talk about the 10 parcels that sold, the vacant land parcels?
Did you see that one on Hollapore Groves Road, listed for 2.2, sold for $975? We double and triple checked the data.
Yeah.
285 acres.
It's crazy.
It did look a little wet. I mean, from the map.
I know.
It looked marshy.
Yeah. And then I pulled it up, and it didn't seem like there were like access roads. Like,
No.
I don't know how you're getting back there or what. It's
But
kind
what
of
a
in the
deal.
middle.
2.2 down to 975.
I know.
I mean, maybe it was overpriced to begin with for what you're getting. But
Right.
yeah,
And did they have that? Because you usually with vacant land, like, you do the environmental study and stuff like that. Because, if you're going to be using it for commercial purposes. Yeah. So maybe they did that, and they were like, actually, it's only worth, but yeah, that's interesting. That's crazy. They also got a conventional loan on that, which was, again, interesting.
And then on Crabgrass, they had the 5 acres that was listed for 75, and the person got it for 50,000. So that was a decent deal for 5 acres.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's actually a really good deal for, for
other than that,
5
nothing
acres.
really stood out.
Yep. All small little things. A lot of stuff out in Hollapaw.
Half and half cash.
Yeah.
But a little more cash than conventional.
Yep, absolutely. And some smaller pieces, 0.92 acres, a lot of those. So it's all really, good, little parcels, except for that one big giant guy that sold. So I'll be curious to see what goes out there, because again, it didn't seem like there was access to it,
No, from what we saw on the map.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting. But anyway, so that wraps up our market report for October of 2024 in the St. Cloud, Florida area.
And don't forget, we had a lot of bloopers on this, so stay tuned for the bloopers. They'll be at the end. I mean,
laugh along with us. Yeah. You can't. We've decided no afternoon recordings and no Monday mornings because this was just a train wreck.
Can't do it.
But it was a fun time this morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, you can find us on all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also check us out
on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I think TikTok.
Right. If you want to see the hilarity, like what actually happened, then you got to go to YouTube and watch the videos because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, you have something you want to talk about, go ahead and send us an email at discoverstcloud@gmail.com or give us a call at
1-844 St. Cloud. That's STCLOUD or 407-953-9118.
And thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm Kristin Macari, and I'm here with
your host.
Is that what I usually say?
Yeah.
It's been so long. Okay, we'll do that again. Is it St. Cloud, Florida?
Yes,
Discover St. Cloud, Florida?
Yes.
Jeez.
Come on.
My brain is mush.
It's morning time.
It is. I'm not all here. Okay, this time I got it, I swear. All right.
Just put the bloopers at the end, Q.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm Jeanine Corcoran.
Oh, boy. Usually that's me.
Yeah. For resale homes, right?
Oh, that's right.
Okay, wait. It's got to be better than that. Give me something else.
Bloopers are going to be good.
You could say something like, yeah, that's right, because, new builds tend to skew those numbers.
Okay,
or, you know what I mean?
Okay,
like something to give me something a little bit better. Okay. And don't forget that number is actually for resales, right? All right. Third time's the charm.
Mm.
So don't forget that those numbers are actually resale numbers only, not.
I can't look at her. I laughed.
Okay,
go ahead. Okay.
All right. So don't forget that those. It's great. Okay. So don't forget that those numbers are actually just resale numbers, though, right?
Yeah, that's right.